What's up, guys? It's James here, and today we are looking at another tutorial on, this time, how to use your PlayStation VR to play any game on your computer. And actually today, you may have seen my other videos, we're going to talk specifically about non-SteamVR games. We're going to look at how to set those up, how to get them working. So I'm talking about any game here. We're going to go through different techniques, 3 different techniques, on how to set them up, what types of software you can use, and all that good stuff. So stay tuned. First off, we are going to talk about the software that does all the magic, and that is Trinus PSVR. This software basically tricks the computer into thinking that your PSVR is an HTC Vive that is hooked up. Does a great job. It works for everything. But the problem is this program is not actually the program that sends out the stereoscopic image that we need to see VR. So in order to see VR in our headset, we need to see 2 separate images side by side. And there's multiple techniques used to do that. By default, SteamVR games work with Trinus. It takes over and it does a great job. But let's say you want to play a game that is a standalone version of a game, maybe something like Skyrim or Grand Theft Auto, or other games that may not be running through Steam. Well, fortunately, there is a mode in here for that. But in order to get it working, we need to have some additional software running that is going to create that stereoscopic image that we need in order to see that. I'm going to talk about 3 options here, and I'm going to go from most expensive to least expensive. And it doesn't mean that one is better than the other. I'll talk about the pros and cons of each, but take a quick look. Let's look at a few. Now, there's probably more than this. These are the 3 most popular. We're going to first of all look at VorpX, and VorpX is a piece of software that was made for Vive and for Rift, and of course now works with PSVR. It's a little pricey at about $40 US approximately, but it is worth it because it allows you to have the most customization, in my opinion, of any of these stereoscopic projectors. Fortunately, with VorpX, it stays up to date. They've got all the latest games included in there, and they have some profiles that were created for those games, so you can just load them up for whatever game you're playing, or create your own if it's not in the list. And it's going to set it up nicely already. You don't have to do much tweaking. Second option is TriDef. Approximately the same price, $39.99. Does a great job at splitting the image. The problem with the software, though, is that it no longer, at least it seems as though it no longer receives support, especially not for newer games. Most of the profiles you would have to get for this software are user profiles that were created and shared online. At least that's what I found. It's meant more for traditional, older 3D games, and does a great job at that, no doubt. But it does have some pros. We'll talk about some of those things in a bit. And the last option, and this is your free option for those of you who don't like spending money, and it does a very good job, is ReShade. ReShade on its own is not going to work to create that image, but I'm going to show you a way that you can not hack it, but modify it, customize it, so that ReShade will get what you want to work for your PlayStation headset. All right, so stay tuned. I'm going to go through each of those. Should be exciting. And yeah. All right, the first technique I'm going to show you is VorpX, and VorpX is a great piece of software. Offers probably the most customization for your games, and probably the more expensive option, but really excellent piece of software. So we're going to go to Configure VorpX once you've installed it. And when you load up VorpX for the first time, you're going to get to this configuration menu. And under General, you want to make sure that it is set for the HTC Vive SteamVR. All right. The way that VorpX works is it works off of profiles, and you can edit those profiles while you're in the game. But under local profiles, you'll see that VorpX keeps up to date with their games pretty nicely. Let's say we wanted a game like Skyrim, and we put that in there. You'll see that we got Skyrim Regular and Skyrim Special Edition, so it does keep up to date. And when you choose a profile for a game, you basically tell it which game is going to use that profile, and it will assign it to that game. Now, if your game is not in the list, you can also go to Cloud Profiles and get games online that might not be within the program. Cinema environments, this is if you want to watch your 360 movies or videos, whatever. In-game key binding, very important. Within VorpX, you can customize the settings in your headset. And you do that by opening the in-game menu with delete. And this is an awesome feature because you can adjust things like your field of view, you can adjust things like the stretching on the screen, the aspect ratio of the game. One huge thing that I think VorpX has as an advantage over other games, other reprojection 3D programs, is that it allows you to rescale your HUD. And in a game that isn't meant for VR, a lot of times your HUD is on the edges of your display, and you can't read any of the screen of the windows. So it allows you to change that within the game. Also, they have a great feature called Edge Peak, where if you hold down the M key, at least that's what it's set to default with the mouse, you can actually get out of VR and look at your screen in kind of a 2D cinema sort of view, and you can see all your menus, make all your changes. It's a great feature because, like I said, when you're in VR, a lot of times it's tough to read menus and change settings and stuff while in the game. All right, so I really like that. So we're going to apply that. We're going to close it. And you know what? Let's try Skyrim, since that's what I was talking about. Now, it's important that Trinus is running, and it's also important that it's in SteamVR mode. Okay, you want to make sure it's in SteamVR because the way that VorpX works is it actually sends the game to SteamVR to use their headset sort of viewer to play the game. Now, if I right-click and I go to my display settings, since we're using SteamVR, we want to make sure that we're on an extended display and that we send our view over to the headset afterwards. Okay, so if you saw my other video for Minecraft, you'll understand what I'm talking about, but I'm going to show it again in here as well. Okay, so one thing, when you start VorpX, so we're going to double click that, you won't see anything actually open. Oh, it is already running, but it'll show up down your taskbar here as a V. Means that it's looking for games that you're about to launch, and it's going to try to launch them within VorpX. Now, I found that its auto detection is hit or miss. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So what I did was right-click and create desktop shortcut. This is really important. What it'll allow you to do is find the exe file, find the actual executable file that the game uses to run. You look inside the game folder, and it creates on your desktop a shortcut with the ending VorpX. Basically, it forces that game to open with VorpX. And this is a much better way of doing it. It creates a shortcut that actually works. Now, I'm going to run Skyrim. I might lose my camera, my webcam here. Not a big deal. You should still hear my voice. But if I run Skyrim as an example, we're going to see that the window that we see, at least on screen, is going to be a single kind of compressed view, and within the headset we would see a doubled mirror version of that, which again is a stereoscopic view of the game. So I'm going to just show you that. Now, all controls that I'm going to do in VorpX here will be from my headset. All right, my head movements are going to be replaced with that of the headset. All right, if I want to make any adjustments to the view that I'm seeing, again, delete key within the game, change my settings, and it should work just fine. So let's load that up. We'll get Skyrim running. Again, I'm probably going to lose my camera in a second here. It says that it cannot find my headset. Now, if that ever happens to you, close SteamVR, close whatever game you're trying to run. Okay, this does happen from time to time. Completely quit both Steam and SteamVR. Stop Trinus. Start it again. Make sure it's in SteamVR mode. What happened there is I actually turned off my headset before I played the game and I started it up again. It doesn't like when you do that. It loses its connection to the headset. So now we can launch SteamVR. Okay guys, now what we're going to do is we're going to launch Skyrim and we're going to just kind of check to see how it should work. Now I might have some flashes on screen, some glitches or whatever, because it doesn't really like being ran in windowed mode. Another thing that kind of sucks, I can't show you the VorpX menu options in the mirrored display. It's only in the headset, so I have no way of showing you that, unfortunately, on the video. But when I go into Skyrim SE VorpX, double click it, Skyrim's going to load as it normally would, and it's going to load in kind of a letterbox format. It's not going to be full screen. It's not going to go across the entire screen. It's going to load kind of in more of a square format. And the reason for that is it's showing you a single display from the headset. All right, this is your mirror window, so you can see what the person wearing the headset sees. All right, so as that loads, it's going to just take a second for it to come up. Okay, so you can see what I'm talking about. Here is the menu that comes up. You can see that it does not fit the entire window. It's kind of got these black bars on the side. And I have sent my extended display to the headset, and you can see that my headset is controlling the movement of the mouse in the game. I still have all the control with my screen as well and my mouse and keyboard. And if I had a wireless controller hooked up, I'd have that control as well. So I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to hit yes. I just want to show you that this does actually work. Alright, it's going to load up the game. And once it does, we got this black screen. By the way, that black screen that you see is the menu within the game, but doesn't show properly on the screen. So you'll see, holding my headset, moving it around, I've got full VR. I'm standing in a doorway right now, so I'm kind of seeing the building around me. Now you'll notice that it looks really fuzzy. It looks really bad. And what I'll do is just show you that there is a menu in here that I can make those changes to, and you get to that menu by pressing the delete key. So I'm going to go in to my headset. I'm going to open the menu with the delete key. Whoops. Alright. And I'm going to just fix that blurry problem. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing, but there we go. I fixed the blurry problem, and now when I look around within the headset, you can see that my head is tracking. It looks gorgeous. Alright, and like I said, with that delete key, I can make all the changes to the depth of the 3D within the game. I can make changes to how it looks. I can just tell it if it should stretch or not, how it displays within the headset. All those options are in there, including field of view and all sorts of other things. So it works great, as you can tell. It looks great. It looks just as good as you see it on screen here. So it definitely works. You can see that that HUD is quite a bit smaller. It's shrunk down, which allows me to see the map, see the menus and all that within the headset. I love that option. Alright, so that's VorpX. Great software. I recommend you try it with games like Skyrim. It works fantastic, as you can tell. So that's option number one. Alright, option number two that I want to show you is TriDef. TriDef is a great piece of software as well. Not as up-to-date with the latest games as VorpX, but if we run TriDef, I'm not going to run it just yet. I'm going to relaunch Trinus, and for TriDef, we need to switch the mode out of SteamVR to mouse mode. And that's really important. And if you're not really sure why, mouse mode basically uses the headset to replicate the movements of the mouse. And if you're in any sort of like first-person type game, usually the mouse is what controls where you're looking. So basically it's just using the headset to make those mouse movements replicate that. So we're going to go into TriDef 3D. Like I said, make sure it's in mouse mode. Make sure you have it started up. It's going to calibrate, it's going to start up, and then we're going to launch TriDef 3D. Now one thing, first of all, here's the menu. Allows you to watch videos, watch a DVD in 3D, look at 3D photos, and what we're interested in is play 3D games. All right, so there's the 3D games option that we just turned on. Now, one thing very important when you're using TriDef, you want to right-click, display settings, all right, and you want to make sure 100% that you have duplicate these settings on for this mode. In SteamVR, we had extend these displays, and we have to send the viewport over to the headset by using Shift Command left mouse. For this, we have to we have to duplicate the display, so we're going to mirror our display. All right, so we're going to close that off. Let's do a game like Subnautica, because it runs nicely and it's fast loading. So we'll run Subnautica. Now, in the TriDef ignition window that opens up here, we got a lot of options in here too. Basically, when we set up a game, all right, I'm just going to show you properties here. We need to choose a game profile. And like I said, they're not up to date with their game profiles, I find anyways. And so this Max Payne 3 was the one that a lot of people recommended. It works great. You can try to find and see if somebody's created a profile for this game. You also have hotkeys, just like in VorpX, that will open up a menu and allow you to change some of the 3D settings when you're looking at the game. Not as advanced as VorpX, kind of a little more on the simple side, but they work great. Hit OK. To launch the game, we're going to just, first of all, to add a game, file, add a game. It'll ask you where the launcher for that file is, the exe, the executable, and then it'll link it up. So we're going to launch Subnautica. I'm going to double click. And what you'll notice happens here when Subnautica loads up is TriDef forces the game to play in a side-by-side 3D view. So there you go. That's what that looks like. And because our screen is set to mirror what we see on the screen, so our headset is mirroring this. Within our headset right now, we see one small screen per eye, which, is that stereoscopic image that we're looking for. So when I go into load game here, I'll just load up a game because it's faster than starting a new game. There's that whole intro. We'll load up a game here just so you can see what this looks like. And basically, like I said, Trinus will take the headset's movements and replace that with the mouse movements that would have been within the game. TriDef is the program that splits the screen into that stereoscopic view, and with those two programs working together, you get this really great VR experience. Now, I will mention that because these games were not made for VR, some of the menus and the HUD and that will not display properly within TriDef. There's no option to shrink your HUD, but you will see that once this game loads up and I move my move my headset around, it's controlling the view of what I see within the game, which is exactly how it should work. Obviously, that's what it's all about. All right, so that works great. Easy to set up, quick and easy. Nothing too complicated there. Works really great. I find that some games aren't supported by TriDef, but you got to kind of experiment and see which ones work best and which ones don't. All right. All right, the last option that we have is ReShade, and ReShade is a free piece of software. It is actually meant to reshade the games that you play using sort of like new lighting and new filters, and kind of applies like Instagram sort of looking filters and that to your game. But what I found is that there is a add-on to it that will project a 3D display. This is a free option and it works great. All right, so go to ReShade Me, I believe it's called reshade.me, and you'll get this ReShade setup file. All right, and you double click it and it asks you to select your game. All right, let's use Grand Theft Auto as an example. I select that game, I go to the exe file, to the folder it automatically detects whether it's a direct 3D game or if it's an OpenGL game. And once it does its thing, and I go over to my Grand Theft Auto folder, I'll just head over there. Yeah, once we go into there, you'll see that it has a folder called ReShade shaders that it put within the game folder. And inside there, you'll see a folder called shaders. All right, these are all the shaders that it has and the options that it has for reshading the lighting and the textures and the effects within your game. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download this file from my description below. This is called SUPERDEPTH 3D reprojection. It's a .fx file, and what I want you to do is drag and drop it into this shaders folder. And once you do that, you're going to have the option of loading that as a shader for the game. Let me show you what I mean. We're going to go into VR games here, and I'm going to find Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'm going to load it up. Now, before I do that, I want to just talk a little bit about how this is going to look. As it's loading up, you're going to see a little menu pop up in the left corner that says ReShade activated. You have to wait like 10 seconds or something. And then you hold Shift F2, I believe that's the key. And it'll open a window, a menu. We're going to be able to choose our custom shader because what it does is it loads that ReShade shaders folder from the game directory, and it should project our screen in 3D if that works according to plan. This is a free option. I've tried it with Skyrim, I've tried it with Subnautica, I've tried it with No Man's Sky, I've tried it with you name it, every game out there, and it is awesome. It's free and it's awesome. Couple things, couple pros and cons. Pros, it works with pretty much everything. Cons, you can't resize your HUD. So some menus and that are difficult to read within the games. But let me show you. Let's do Grand Theft Auto. It's a great example of it. You may have seen it in my other video on how to set up Trinus for your games. But when Grand Theft Auto loads up, you should see the loading screen in a second here. And there we go. We can see the ReShade 3.0s up there. And what we're going to do is press that Shift F2 to open this window. And there's SUPERDEPTH 3D projection. I don't know why I have it in twice. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to turn one off and it works. I really should make sure that there's no double copy of it in there. But you'll see that in here, when this first opens, it's going to ask you for a profile for this game. So you're going to create a Grand Theft Auto 5 profile. And then you can choose your SUPERDEPTH 3D reprojection. I've got a few other ones that I like that I've loaded as well. And that's going to give you that real nice split display, side-by-side 3D projection of the game. Now I also added a second mod to this, because I felt that the depth of field wasn't enough when I was in VR. So there is a field of view corrector that was loaded into this as well. And I'll put a link to that file in my description as well. But this works fantastic. And like I said in another video, I'm going to say it again, this is your best option for playing Grand Theft Auto in VR until an official release comes out. It looks awesome. It looks fantastic. And like I said, if you fix that field of view with the field of view mod, it looks wonderful. All right, so I'll wait for that to load just so I can show you that it is going to work. You can already see that it's split, so it is going to work. Just taking a bit to load. And we should be able to come into our game and play it in VR. And there we go. We're dropping into Franklin's body. There he is. All right. So you got this view, this stereoscopic view, and the way you can tell that it is in stereo is that the view on the left is slightly different from the view on the right. And here we go. There's my headset. And as I move it around, everything follows beautifully. I can even see my body down there. It's a wonderful experience. Grand Theft Auto, you know, the world is so huge. and you can go and explore this entire city that they've created in VR. It's amazing, actually. All right, so that's how to get that working for free. You can use TriDef, you can use VorpX. Those are going to work for you as well. Like I said, this is a free option, and it works really, really excellent. All right, so I'm just going to quit this game. Anyways, I hope that this video helps you. I hope you're able to get your games working. I would love for you guys to post some comments down below and let me know if you have any games that you've experienced that work really well with Trinus and with VR in general. And if you have any issues, feel free to send some comments and I'll try to help you as best I can. Feel free to like this video, subscribe if you want more. I've got tons more videos coming, and hopefully we can all get on this VR bandwagon. Till next time, thanks for watching.